working in one of the coldest regions on Earth. A 1,000-kilometer trip through the ice desert of Siberia, at temperatures as low as minus 45 degrees Celsius.
We could slip off here any second.
Breaking down is a disaster.
We don't have a spare tire for the trailer anymore.
These men brave the cold because they're trained ice road truckers. But how tough is this job? And what do you have to bring to the table? We escorted a squad of Russian truckers and found out. The task? To transport a bulldozer from the city of Magadan 1,000 kilometers through ice and snow to a gold mine. The freight, a bulldozer with a length of almost 12 meters, a height of almost 5 meters, and a width of almost 5.5 meters. It weighs 86 tons. Denis Afarizovich Rafikov is the ice road trucker.
We have experience in transporting cargo, such as the 475. We know our way around really big machines.
The challenge? The bulldozer is almost as wide as the truck that's supposed to transport it. If the bulldozer drives onto the loading bed at a slight angle, it could tip over. In addition, the cargo must drive over the tires at full weight without destroying them. Ice road truckers have to be smart. To protect the tires, they put old ones on top of new ones. Job done. Bring on the bulldozer.
It's really heavy.
All done. The bulldozer is safely on the back of the truck.
Easy, easy, easy. Stop, stop.
Now, on to Denis's real task, maneuvering the cargo safely through the ice desert. His vehicle? A truck 22.5 meters long and weighing 138 tons.
There can be problems with the wheels, there can be problems with the axle bearings, or with the air brakes, because the cargo is so incredibly heavy.
Denis is one of the company's most experienced ice road truckers. He's been doing this freezing cold job for many years. His colleague Vanya, however, is still a greenhorn. He's also heading off into the cold today. Their destination? A gold mine in the middle of nowhere. Gold digging is scheduled to start here in a few days. If the bulldozer doesn't arrive on time, it could lose the business millions. The convoy is ready for departure, but not without the veteran ice road trucker, Supervisor Alexander Valentinovich Sabinsky.
I am mainly responsible for the downhill stretch in the mountain passes. I have to check constantly whether it is slippery and whether the vehicles or the cargo are damaged.
The ice-cold job begins in the middle of the night, but the truckers have to be wide awake at all times. They can't afford to make mistakes or allow technical deficiencies. That's because there's no repair shop or breakdown service in Siberia's ice desert. If you break down here, it can be quite dangerous at minus 45 degrees. And there can't be any delays in the schedule, because that wouldn't only be bad for the client, because one of the most important rules for ice truckers is to stay on schedule. They earn their money mainly in the winter months. The more tours they can do, the more money is left over for the rest of the year. Shortly before the first stopover, however, the cold already starts to have an effect. Antifreeze is leaking from Dennis's truck, and they can't afford to lose that at these sub-zero temperatures. Another important ice trucker rule: never switch off the engine, as it would freeze up within a few minutes. But Dennis can solve the problem quickly while the engine is running, thanks to his many years of experience.
The hose is old, so the pipe couldn't withstand the pressure any longer. But now everything's okay again.
After a short night's rest, the tour continues. The truckers want to cover 400 kilometers on this next stage, over 5 steep mountain passes, until they reach the most important stopover of the tour, the only gas station in the Siberian tundra. But right at the start, the first challenge of this difficult stage is already waiting: getting the bulldozer off the back of the truck.
Now we have to unload the bulldozer. This ascent is too slippery. The following descent too steep. With that bulldozer, my truck would never make it. We could even slide down the slope.
The problem is that a steep slope creates so-called contact pressure, which pushes the truck down with a force of up to 9 tons. If the weight of the load is added to this, the truck can lose grip and start to slip. This is also the problem going downhill. If the load is too heavy, it can put too much strain on the brake pads. So, take off the bulldozer and cross over the mountain without it. Supervisor Valentinovich also insists on snow chains for the trucks. Dennis sticks to this, but Greenhorn Vanya rushes up the mountain without chains. While Dennis unloads the bulldozer, it happens.
Look over there!
He didn't put the fucking chains on!
Greenhorn Vanya is stuck on the mountain, a dangerous situation. Supervisor Valentinovich rushes to help. Then suddenly, Vanya starts moving again and makes it out of his predicament by himself, though he still gets into trouble for his actions. Remember, always follow the supervisor's instructions. Meanwhile, the bulldozer is slowly but surely making its way over the mountain. Once they're back down the hill, the bulldozer gets loaded back up and the journey continues. Loading and unloading is an enormous strain for the truck each time, especially for the tires. The smallest cracks can form here, which can quickly cause them to burst in these enormous temperature fluctuations. This time, everything goes well.
Loading's done, everything seems to have worked out. Now we can move on. The mine is waiting for us.
In order to keep to the schedule, the truckers no longer take a break, driving through the cold day and night. A real trucker has to endure that too. Shortly before the important stop at the gas station, the strain on the materials finally claims a victim. A tire has burst. That means unloading the bulldozer and changing tires at minus 45 degrees. The big problem is
We no longer have a spare wheel for the trailer. We only have some left for the truck. And they're too big.
their nerves are in tatters. The cold and the night shifts are taking their toll. But thanks to the Russian art of improvisation, even the oversized tires hold. But now the bulldozer has to get back on the trailer.
Pull it over a little. I'll never get it up like this.
In these situations, the truckers still have to remain calm, because panic in the ice desert can have fatal consequences. After 6 exhausting attempts, the bulldozer is finally back in its place.
We did it. That was really difficult. It's so dark you can't see a thing.
After a total delay of 3 hours, the truckers finally reached the filling station. Time for a well-deserved break from the ice-cold temperatures. The final stage, and there's only one obstacle in the way. A provisional bridge, built only from logs, with a little earth to fill the gaps. A simple construction. But perhaps too simple for 138 tons. The bridge seems to be holding. The convoy can continue. Mission accomplished. The last few kilometers to the gold mine. Then the Ice Road truckers will have made it. They'll deliver the bulldozer to the gold mine, right on schedule. The client is satisfied.
It's a very powerful machine. We have to dig an extreme amount of gold out of the ground this summer, and only machines like this bulldozer can do it.
And trucker Dennis is also satisfied with his work.
I'm happy. In spite of all the difficulties, we have successfully delivered our load to its destination.
The bulldozer can now begin its work in the gold mine, and the Ice Road truckers can move on to their next job, at temperatures as low as minus 45 degrees. Conclusion: this is definitely one of the hardest jobs in the world.